In the heart of Alberta, or known by city folk as Stettler, is a man with a dream that involves a lot of grit, long nights, and beaver felt, where the fur is soft, the steam is hot, and the hospitality is next to none, is where you can find the man named Jace, owner of JWT Hats.
JWT Hats is bringing back authentic Western hat making to its roots. With all of his years on the rodeo circuit and on the range, Jace is a steward of the Western way. He understands the needs and wants of any cowboy and the job his or her hat has to endure.
Using the finest materials, Jason craft a hat to meet any cowboy or cowgirl's liking, including any shape, size, or color. Each hat is custom made to cater any person's noggin, big or small. And don't think you're too far away from his little shop. JWT Custom Hats will ship anywhere in North America. His hat can be found far and wide, including his Instagram and TikTok.
So come on down to Stettler or give Jace a ring at 403-740-3574. Remember, folks, if you look good, you feel good.
Hello, folks. Welcome to episode number 97 of the Hicks from the Sticks podcast. Podcast.
Broadcast/podcast.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that where we are now?
I don't know. That's a good question. But if you're listening to this episode, you will have noticed that there was a new intro, or what last week would have been the last one.
week would have been
the last one. So yeah, I guess quick shout out then. JWT Hats, go buy a hat. Anyways,
thank you for Jace for being a main podcast sponsor.
Yeah, and
check out his business. Like I said, an infomercial, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, and stay tuned for some collaborations that we're planning on doing with him in the future here, especially during the rodeo season. So stay tuned for that. We'll get more into that as we get some stuff finalized here. But yeah, I guess we have a very, very, very special guest here with us today. We have Tanner and Corey of the Farm for Profit podcast.
Yep.
For all you farmers out there that might listen to it. You rodeo folk, maybe not so much, but
yeah, if you have. Well, I guess I don't know where I was going with that. But like Mike Mason said, I don't know.
All right, I'm not gonna let you talk anymore.
Mason's taking the wheels on this one. But we're only gonna do a short, quick banter here today because we got a good old long interview today for y'all.
Yeah, that's right. So we're gonna hop into the Western word of the week here. So our word for the week here, and it has to do with the weather. Okay. Weather. Okay. So keep that in mind when you're making your guesses here. Cow skinner.
Like a light dew?
No.
Light rain?
I mean, if you're thinking about a cow getting skinned, it's got to be something pretty extreme, you would think.
Oh, hurricane? Wind?
No.
Sandstorm?
No.
I don't know.
A cow skinner is a frequent name for a severe winter storm.
Oh.
So I don't understand where the cows get skinned in that case.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
If it was super hot out, I could see how maybe they
maybe because when it snows quite a bit, the white, they got like a white back, right? When the snow sticks to their back. So it might look like they got skin, but actually they don't.
Yeah, because cows are white underneath.
Oh, maybe. Maybe they are.
Yeah.
Even the black ones, maybe they're white underneath.
All right, I'll take your word for it there. I could be wrong, but
I'm up here on, but who knows?
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, like we said, we were gonna keep the little banter short here. But I did want to mention quickly here that this past Easter weekend was the first time I've ever watched the Masters before.
Okay. How about this, Mason? Let's go up into the interview, and then we'll talk about the Masters after. So I want to talk about the Masters.
Stay tuned for Master Talk after the interview.
Yeah, let's tune into the interview here quick with Tanner and Corey from Farming for Profit. Welcome, folks, to another interview from the Hicks from the Sticks podcast. Today, we're switching it up, everybody. We're interviewing another podcast.
That's right.
I don't know if this is a very common thing to you guys before or no.
Well, we've been on some other podcasts. We haven't been on one for a while,
And we love interviewing other podcast hosts on our podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Okay,
So yeah, anyways, we got Tanner and Corey here today from the Farm for Profit podcast. Where are you guys coming from today? You guys are coming from Iowa, right?
Yes, right in the middle of Iowa. So you guys sound like you're north of the border, right?
Very north.
Maybe.
Very north of the border.
What
So-
gave you that hint?
Yeah, just where's the butcher boat? No, Des Moines, Iowa. If you were to draw a line in between Des Moines and Ames, Iowa, that's about where we're at. We're recording in Huxley tonight in our studio.
Okay, what's the population of that place?
God, that's the third time today I've been asked that. I tell people it's like 5,000 going on 7.
Yeah, it's growing.
All right, so you guys have like a solid bar there then?
We've got the bar at the country club, the golf course. We've got
Fancy.
a microbrewery,
Oh yeah,
Okay.
and we do have the ability to buy liquor at the grocery store.
you get the flight.
Oh, and we do have a
There's
bar
no
restaurant.
and then the Mexican restaurant has a bar.
Hey, we got some bars.
But they're not like real bars, in my opinion. In my opinion, I'm not from this town. Tanner's from this town. This town's a little uppity. The town over, Slater, where I'm from, it has 2 bars, and those are real bars.
Oh,
Yes, and that population is only like 3,000 people. So, yeah, funny.
but they keep it afloat, and that tells you something about the place.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, the one thing I noticed for sure, and I haven't been to the States very much, but one of the first things you notice right as you cross the border is the ability to buy liquor in the gas station. Pretty sweet.
That was a new thing because when we were growing up, you couldn't do that. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing liquor there. You could always get beer.
I think it was sometime like while I was in college, probably like that 2007, 8, 9, somewhere in there.
Right.
You could start buying liquor in the local Casey's or gas station.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I wish.
It's
I
probably
wish.
a good thing they don't do it up here, to be honest. or else-
It's not the best place to
Well,
buy it.
I
It's
mean-
pretty expensive.
Well, and your liquor's cheaper by like $20 a case, probably. I wish
You're
that
talking
would
like
happen.
beer?
Yeah, like beer. Everything's cheaper down there. We got tobacco up here is triple the price. Beer's double the price.
Is that
How much do you
just
think
because of your
tin of
taxes or
Copenhagen
what?
is? Yeah, it's all taxes. The government taxes
Yeah.
the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Like, how much do you think a tin of Copenhagen goes?
A tin? You're like a can?
Yeah.
We're $8.99.
Yeah. Well, you would know. I don't. Yeah.
$8.99.
$8, $9. That's where we're
No,
at.
it's $30.
Holy shit!
Can we swear?
Yeah, you guys can swear.
$30? There's people that chew a can or two a day. What?
That would be a reinforcement to quit.
Oh my god. Well,
I
hold
think
on.
that was
Canadian
the
dollars,
mindset.
right?
Yeah, so I mean,
So it'd be like
That's so-
$22 probably.
Yeah, 23, $22 at the moment.
What is it, like 70%? 72.
Jesus. Holy crap. You really got to want to do that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What's a
And
pack
even
of
a pack-
cigarettes cost?
yeah, it's like $20.
Wow. Case of beer is
Yeah.
it's cheaper to drink, even at $30.
You know, there's twice
Well,
we tried
They
to
sure
get
do make-
beer. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they sure do make it expensive to have bad habits up here.
Well, twice we tried to have beer shipped to us from Canada, and twice it never made it across the border, or at least it never got to us.
Borders are tight.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's all weird. I don't understand how all
Yeah.
that stuff works, but
I mean, like, it's not really that tight if you go just drive across. You know, you stick some in your socks, some in your bag. If you're hauling horses, stick some in the hay bales, in
Yeah.
the back of the trailer, by the horse's feet. You're all good.
There you
Yeah,
go.
but to
When
me
you
it
do
doesn't
that,
sound
though-
like it'd be worth it for you to bring it here. That'd be you guys wanting to take it back home with you.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
yeah,
oh
oh, yeah,
yeah.
oh, yeah,
There's
oh, yeah.
people who specifically go for trips down to the States just to pick up beer and cheese and whatever. And if you're gonna try to like bring a lot of stuff back, the key is to do it when it's really cold outside, because then the people at the border aren't gonna want to like tear your trailer apart and stuff, because cold. Right?
This sounds like there's a trend. It seems like every time you go south, it gets cheaper and better. Like, we used to do that. We used to cross the Iowa border into Missouri and get 30 packs and way cheaper. And the alcohol percentage was higher.
Yeah.
And they'd sell you cigarettes and beer when you're like 18 because they didn't card you at all. And then you go to Mexico and stuff's even cheaper then. You just keep going south.
I think you figured it out.
I think you might be onto something there.
Nicer weather,
Mhm.
better beer, cheaper.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
That's true.
I would go that far. But anyways, I guess getting a little back on track here. For the folks out there that maybe don't listen to your guys' podcast, could you give a quick little explanation of it and maybe your guys' background a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Tanner. I'm known as the Iowa Banker Man on social media. So if you're TikTok or Twitter out there, that's the handles that I go by. We have 3 unique personalities on our podcast. It's called Farm for Profit. It's the number 4. We don't made a stupid decision a long time ago because it would have been so much easier just to write FOR instead of the number 4.
Yep.
But we do a mixture of trying to educate our listeners and entertain them all at the same time. So we do 2 different shows a week. There's one that comes out Monday and one that comes out Thursday. Our profit shows on Monday are more business-like. It's usually an educational session, a lot more focused on something that's really going to help your farm make more money. And then on Thursdays, we call them our fun shows. Our listeners have nicknamed us the Mullet of Agriculture podcast because we got the business in the front on Monday and the party in the back on Thursdays. So clearly tonight's a Thursday night. We've got some bourbon here in our glasses. We're kicking it back with you guys and going to hang out. But I am the banker by trade, so I add the perspective from the finance side of things. Corey.
And I'm Corey Hillebo, also known as corn, pork, and beans, like the letter N, just like the 4. Yeah, on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. I think it's just my name on Instagram and Facebook, but I'm all over, and even Clapper now in case TikTok gets banned. But I bring the farmer perspective. So I've farmed all my life here in Central Iowa, and I joined the podcast not the first year they were going, the second year they were going.
Yep.
Right in the middle of COVID. So there was nothing else to do, so I came here.
Yeah, and then we're actually missing our wingman. We've got a third co-host. His name's Dave Whitaker. He's known as the Land Guy, and he's an auctioneer and realtor. So those are the 3 perspectives that we try to attack every topic from and put out topics that our guests want to hear. We talk to people that our guests want us to interview, and we just have a hell of a time doing it. It's we wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't fun because it takes a lot of effort, just like you guys. Applaud you for sticking with the show, putting out as many podcasts as you have, and listeners don't always know what goes into this.
Well, what do they say? Most podcasts don't make it past like the 2nd episode. So
that's true. And you guys are in it for a year. How often do you put out an episode?
Currently once a week. We were doing twice a week like you guys, but workload and what else we wanted to do, it just wasn't feasible.
It's a lot.
We would like to one day like maybe get like an editor involved, and that would make it a lot easier. But if you're editing all your own stuff, it's like I'm editing everything. The mate's got to do the rest, right? So it's tough, right? So
yeah, so I edited every show up until August of
2021 or
21, I think. Maybe it wasn't quite that long ago. It was at least the first 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And it was a huge difference once we found an editor to jump in and take that, because every minute you record, it's 3 to 5 minutes of time just to edit it. So you do an hour-long podcast, you got 3 to 5 hours of editing. And I love it, but it makes it a lot more fun when you can just send the file to somebody else and it comes back right. Clean.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes we just get to the point where we'll be like, I don't think there's anything bad in there. Like, no, fuck it.
Yeah, you get like 30 minutes into it and you're like, well, if anybody's still listening now, they're our true friends and fans anyway, so we'll just kind of
let it go. Just let it go.
Exactly. So before, of course, one of you is farming. Do all 3 of you guys still have family farms that you guys go back to and just farm also, or anything like that, or no?
Yeah. So Dave, the auctioneer realtor, his wife has is it a purebred herd?
I don't think it's purebred.
But it's definitely
Just show cattle.
Yep. So she's got a show cattle herd. They've got a cow calf herd that their family tends to. He's also got in-laws that have farm ground here in the state of Iowa. I grew up on a farrow to finish hog farm with row crops, and my parents still have fat hogs and still farm actively, so I can go back there and help out. And then I married into a fat cattle feedlot that has row crops, and I probably hold the steering wheel more for them now than I do my own family. But until Corey lets me actually drive some of his stuff, that's where I go and make my mistakes and screw things up, is over at the in-laws.
Well, you get all the practice, get your mistakes out of the way, and then you can drive my stuff. But no, I've farmed all my life. We farm corn, soybeans, and we do wean to finish hogs. The hogs were not there all my life. We just got into that in 2013. That was my ticket back to the farm. I was working for Pioneer at the time, a seed company, and so I wanted to get back and farm, and there wasn't room for me, so the hogs was my ticket.
So the one thing that I noticed when I took a quick look on your guys' website the other, on your little blurb that you had there, Corey, it said something about you guys also doing areola berries. Is that how you pronounce that? And what the hell is
areola berries?
Areola berries. I'm in on that crop.
Aronia. Is it aronia? I don't know how to pronounce that.
You gotta put those areola berries in your mouth.
Hell yeah, I would. Aronia berries, yeah. So we probably need to update that because I mowed them all over last fall, but they're still let's see. So came back, started the hogs. It was an existing hog farm, so we bought the hogs, and then I wanted to do more, and I am not patient. I should have been patient, so I tried to do more with my ground. Then you can't just go buy ground or rent more ground as a young guy, and I found these native aronia berries, and they're supposedly the highest antioxidant berry in the world. Very healthy for you. The only downfall is they just taste like shit.
They're pretty tart.
They're not that bad.
They're pretty tart.
They actually go really good in bourbon. And they are really healthy for you. I believe in the science behind it, but basically there was just no demand for it. Not a lot of education on it. So we tried to educate a lot of people. A lot of people I bet there was 4,000 or 5,000 acres of aronia berries throughout the Midwest here, and a lot of people have pulled them up. But I do think at some point in our lives we'll see some sort of a market for them. But yeah, they're just a health berry. But we're gonna put corn there now. Tired of losing money. I lost a lot of money in it. It was about $4,000 an acre to establish.
Holy! And how many years did it take to establish?
You won't get a crop until year 3, but even then, it's like a very minimal. I would say it would take about 7 to 10 years to get a mature crop of aronia berries. But for example, year 3 or 4, we did harvest a crop, and they were actually paying about $1 a pound at that time, and I think we made $4,000 or $5,000 an acre. I mean, it was pretty good, but a lot of labor, a lot of expense, a lot of opportunity costs lost, not having any, not getting paid on the other years.
Yeah.
So
not farming for profit.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did it though. I learned a lot.
Yeah. I might have to run it back, but yeah, corn's probably a better idea for now.
For now, I mean, but you got to realize when we established that in 14, corn was coming off its highs from the drought in 2012, $7 corn, and there was several years there that we weren't making any money on corn too. So it was just like, oh, we'll just keep trying this. And it was, don't get me wrong, it was we started out with 15 acres, which was absolutely a BTO of aronia berries. It was huge. But in terms of like row crop, that's tiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotcha. Actually, I got another question about the farming side of things. Are pigs quite popular down there?
Iowa is number one, and I know the United States has got to be number one in the world for pigs per capita. We've got more pigs than we do people in the state. How many pigs is there? 20 million? In the
Oh,
state?
probably. I mean, I can look that up here.
Google it. I would say
So-
northern Iowa and southeast Iowa is more popular than they are here in central Iowa.
23.6 million.
I was close. I was close.
Wow. Damn.
So
So-
yes, very popular.
But how is the swine market surviving in Iowa? Because if you look in Canada, the only people that are really growing hogs are the Hutterites, and that's because they can finance them themselves. Is there like kind of like a quota type system? That's a very Canadian thing to say. Type system or something like that in place?
So I'm going to talk very high level here because I'm not an expert. I rent out space, so I'm a contract finisher. I don't own the pigs. I don't sell the pigs. I get paid per space to take care of them. Funny for a Hutterite colony that out of South Dakota. Yeah, but I tell you what, I was with one of the big guys, one of the big hog farms, and I tell you what, the Hutterites are way better to work with than they are, and they have way better pigs. But I think hogs are pretty healthy down here. I think it's not like the cattle industry. It's getting pretty vertically integrated, right? Like the big four packers kind of control everything. So us little farmers, we just get paid to. There's very few people that own
Right.
pigs.
Like the hogs, same thing. My parents right now are doing the same thing. We're renting space to another owner of the pigs, except for the unique thing in the contract that we have is I was given the opportunity to own 15%, and my parents were given the opportunity to own 15%. So we own 30% of every hog that goes through our barns, where Corey doesn't have any ownership. So there's a lot of different ways, like you're talking about a quota structure, that you can get involved and either limit your risk versus, like you were saying, the only way to afford it is if you can do it with cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think there is some sort of a quota system. From what I've heard the guys talk about, you kind of have to buy into these packers and then you get a certain amount of shackle space. So if you have shackle space, you're pretty much guaranteed to kill your hogs. Now there's open market loads as well. They will kill those, but if shit hits the fan and another COVID happens, or African swine fever comes or something like that, that demand goes down. If you don't have shackle space, then you got pigs with no market.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes more sense because up here in Canada, everything's traded on the free market still. Like everything goes to a central auction, and the packers then auction through that system. And
Okay.
so the only people there was been rumors even running around too at one point that the banks weren't even financing pig farmers anymore.
Really?
Type of thing.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. That was just through the rumor mill, but
Yeah.
that's what I do through my work. So
Well, I don't even know how a person could get into hog farming. And like, if you could start from scratch, I don't know how you could own, if you wanted to do it at scale, right? I'm not talking like pigs in your backyard, but if you wanted to have 1,000 head or 4,000 head on feed, how you would even go about that. Because you have no pull at the packer. You have no pull buying your genetics or anything like that, or even your feed or your medicine. I don't know how it could be done.
mhm.
It's called winning the lottery.
Well, yeah, right. But why would we have pigs if we won the lottery?
Right. He is not wrong.
We would just buy a bunch of farm ground and tractors we don't need and just a bunch of bourbon and just have fun.
Yep.
A bunch.
Go wrong.
Yep.
I guess another we don't have a crazy amount of American guests on our podcast. And a difference that we haven't talked about between the States and Canada is you guys actually don't have a milk quota system,
Okay.
unlike us. So how does that affect farms down there quite a bit? Because up here, there's a bit more security with dairy, but it's impossible to get into.
I
type
do
of
think
thing.
there
But
is. We had Megan, Dairy Girl Megan. Are you guys on TikTok?
I don't think I've heard of her.
Are you on TikTok? Are you on TikTok?
Yeah, I haven't. She hasn't come across my page yet. No.
You got Megan Dairy Girl and you got Dan
Iowa Dairy
Iowa
Man.
Dairy Man. Is probably the two biggest dairy people that we've had on, and we've also
Ryan
had
Seaman.
Ryan Seaman, 5-Star Dairy out of Michigan. and Megan said they did have a quota system, but that might have been the people that they were growing
More for the butter fats or what you was talking
milk
about.
for.
But it's almost like hogs to where it's gotten so contract based, and the larger dairies are the ones that are having the most success. You don't hear hardly anywhere of anybody thinking I'm going to go get 20 cows and I'm going to milk them. It's definitely something that survives at scale.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think maybe what she was talking about was a quota with her processor plant. But up here in Canada, we have a government quota system.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Buy through a government organization, and then the government organization sells it to the processors. So it flips hands twice before it actually gets processed. Yeah. Is that something you guys haven't heard about before?
No. I mean, I guess like government cheese. We've had like that type of stuff, like, but I don't think we've had that for a long time. If it is, or the schools would have some sort of a program like that. All the public schools get government basically fed, have parameters that they have to meet and stuff. But yeah, I haven't heard of the whole quota system in Canada.
Well, do you want a quick explanation?
Go for it. Yeah, is it good, bad? What is it?
Well, we're the only country in the world that does it, and every country's government hates it because it's a two-part system with a tariff and a quota system. So the tariffs part stops basically, I'm not bashing the Americans, basically stops the Americans from flooding our market type of thing.
Okay.
And then so that's the first part. That's a big part of it that a lot of people don't recognize. And then the second part is the quota system. So each province up here in Canada, not state, province, has their own organization, and then the federal kind of like body divvies up quota to each provincial organization. And then most provinces, they have like a public bid system. Alberta, so our province, is the only one that actually has a private buying system left, which kind of screwed Alberta over because right now, I think, what was it, 60? You want to look up what price quota is right now? Yeah, I can do that. But like, so in some of these public bidding systems, here are like public allotment systems, or I guess wherever they have like caps. So in Ontario and Quebec, it's $24,000 a kg of butter fat you're able to produce that so much. So for one Holstein, it's 1.5, right? So 100 Holsteins, 150 kgs, 150 times 24,000. It's a lot of money just to be able to produce them, though.
Right.
So that's how it kind of works. And then basically farmers milk it, and then they basically sell it back to the provincial body. The provincial body then sells it to the processor.
So are Canadian farmers in general behind the system?
Yes, because you don't have, because with this you're able to control the price on both ends. Now, for example, Canadian milk for a 4-liter jug or a 1-gallon jug is about $5 type of thing, which I think down there is about 2 or 3 roughly sometimes.
Yeah, depends where you go.
Right, and what brand it is, but interesting.
So basically you're able to keep it level across the board between the consumer and the producer. So there's no fluctuations, right? Because you're controlling the supply in the system, and then demand's always there.
So are you in dairy?
I used to be big into dairy. That's how I got started into egg in 2013. Dairy, and if 13-year-old Devin could live out his dream, it'd be to own a dairy farm. And then I went to school and I saw the numbers and I was like, no, thank you.
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen. Well, actually, no, thank you. It's not gonna happen. I think like in school we did like a mock dairy farm in Manitoba, which has one of the lowest quota prices out there. And it was just the startup costs alone, just to milk for the first day, would be close to $7 to $8 million.
Wow.
Holy shit.
So yeah, if you were a person that wanted to start into dairy, how would you even get your own quota, or how would you get started?
Either inherit it or marry into it.
Like a lot of farming.
Yeah, pretty much.
They do have, each province has their own entrance program. but there's not the success rate with. I don't know what the official stat is. When you talk to guys that enter that program, the success rate's actually it's just so tough. It's basically, you have to work by yourself for the first 5 to 10 years. No help, nothing. 365 days, nothing place, right? So it's a tough life, right? So
Yeah,
In
dairy
October,
farming.
the 58,000.
yeah. So in Alberta, it's 58,000 a kg back in October, and that's gone up. That's why it's 60,000 now. So
Okay. I've always thought the most out of dairy farmers. I would never want to do it myself. I mean, getting up early, milking 2-3 times a day, staying late. I mean, and it's probably, especially with the robotics and all that, it's probably physically probably not that hard anymore, but it's the consistent grind that gets you.
Yep.
And it's that way with just pigs, and it's not that hard either. But it's like, hey, something's gonna break on Christmas Day or Easter or whatever.
Sunday.
Yeah, yeah, the day you don't want to be there, or you had a vacation plan.
Yeah.
Stuff
Tomorrow
goes
morning after bourbon tonight.
Right. Well, hopefully my brother can chores tomorrow. But yes, when I got pigs, like it changed my whole perspective on drinking. Like it was like, can I do what I did, a few years ago?
That's the way I was raised. Is it? It was okay if you went out and did this, but you still had chores in the morning. So it didn't matter how bad you felt.
Did the pigs cause you to drink more or less?
Usually made you start earlier in the day than you planned on.
I'm a much more of a day drinker now than I used to shut down the bars and all that. Nope.
Now you start at 3 and you're done by 9.
Yeah. And 9's late. Yep.
Make her to get home.
Yep.
all right, I got another American question. If you guys are all right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So coming up, so if you're listening to this right now, he would have been a couple weeks ago, but we just had Matt from the Manure Moth about a week ago.
Oh yeah. Matt's
And-
badass.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And we asked him the question because he's from Nebraska. And I see this on social media all the time, and he gave his piece to who has better corn.
Oh.
And I want to hear the Iowa piece now because we've heard the Nebraska part.
Matt has no place.
Matt
in
doesn't have
this.
anything to
He
say.
does not harvest the corn. He just spreads shit.
He's got no dog in this race.
He makes the corn better in Nebraska. I will give him that because
Probably the only.
Boop does that.
That's right.
But Iowa has better corn than Nebraska. We constantly yield better than them.
Yeah.
We have more acres than them.
We don't have to water it.
No, we don't have to use precious water.
Yeah.
We get our own.
We don't have to irrigate. We've got better soil,
Right. Better markets.
better looking farmers.
It's just
Just so much
it's
never
like-
ends.
Just keep on going.
yeah.
Yeah, how much you didn't say how much you wanted, but I mean the list is pretty much endless.
Yeah.
I mean, well, what we just figured out about Texas, that
Everything's bigger in Texas.
everything's bigger in Texas, but still, we think that Texas corn might also be better than Nebraska corn.
Right. Yep.
So if Nebraska can't even beat Texas, how can Nebraska think that they've got better corn than Iowa?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Wow, wait, hold up. Are you talking about irrigated Texas corn or dryland Texas corn?
Well, it don't matter.
Just in general.
You put up any corn in Texas.
That's a bold statement, though, because in the Panhandle, it's pretty dry right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They got better markets down there too. They
That's
have like
true.
a $2 plus
Oh, yeah.
positive basis because all the cattle.
We had Farmer Dan 97 on
Yep.
our podcast as a guest, another TikToker. He's from Texas, and we just wanted to poke him. That's kind of just like what you guys did. Poke him and let him know that everything's better in Iowa, and he let us know that we were wrong. But we both agreed that both states were better than Nebraska.
Oh, okay. At least you're able to come to some sort of
Yeah.
conclusion. Yeah.
So, my question is, what state is worse than Nebraska?
Illinois.
That was fast.
Easy. Easy. They grow good corn. I will give them that, but their policy and Chicago is just too
Chicago.
much. Yeah.
If they didn't have Chicago, it'd probably be different.
If they could push Chicago into the Great Lake, they'd be better off.
Fair enough.
Or you guys could have.
Oh, pardon?
You guys could have Chicago.
We can have
No, you already have Toronto, so no thanks.
Right.
I mean, I
Toronto
wouldn't mind an
Blue.
NFL team, so if the Bears can come with us, we'll take them.
Oh, that's a
Even
fair
though
point.
they,
That's
even
a
though they
fair point.
suck,
I think you can have the Bears too.
we'll take them.
Awesome deal. So obviously a couple of you guys have jobs outside the farm. How did you want to get did you want to farm or did you want to get into the egg lending side as well?
Yeah, so I had a couple of opportunities as a kid to see how unprofitable fail to finish hog farming was and what that did to our family. And there was just a point when I was just say teenager to be in general. I kind of made a vow to myself that I was going to get into a profession in which I knew I had a paycheck. And that turned out to be marrying my love of numbers with my love of agriculture into ag lending. So that's kind of what I started off just by following, job shadowing my dad's banker, and then went into a business college and kept working up my ranks in the banking world, doing everything from taking your check on Friday and cashing it to making loans. And it just is something that I've always made sure that when I'm in those positions, I stay really, really close to the agriculture side. And that's where the ag lending piece comes into it. But now that I'm older, I don't know if that everyday paycheck is as important as I thought it was when I was a kid. But it was just a point, being the oldest in my family, that I didn't see a substantial opportunity. We talked a lot about ways that we could expand as a family farm, and it just meant add more sows and farrow more pigs. And I was burnt out.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked my tail off as a kid. It was not exciting at that point in time. So the career of banking has been really kind to me. Obviously gives me a lot of flexibility. I put a lot of time in behind steering wheels, whether it's in a semi or a tractor, and I'm able to record a podcast whenever I want to. So it's been a good career, but that's the main reason I just started into it, was stability. You don't get rich being a banker. It's not about the money, but it's stable, it's steady.
Yeah. And also, remember what you said, you were raised that you had to do chores every morning, so you couldn't drink that much, but you wanted to drink more. Bankers don't start till 9.
Right. We're done at 3.
Right. So was a big factor in it.
Yeah. That was my young self was already thinking about my life of drinking.
Yes. Drunk bankers.
Well, are you able to work from home a lot of time too then?
So I worked from home a lot during COVID.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more convenient. A lot of my customers still come into the bank, and it's a lot easier just to catch them when you're there in the office. But yeah, I've got all the technology to work from wherever. I mean, we were down in Orlando for Commodity Classic recording podcasts under contract, and I was able to do banking from Florida. So I've got that flexibility, but I spend a lot of time in the office.
And I would say that he's gotten really good. When we first started this podcast, he did feel like he needed to be in the bank all the time, but he has gotten good at building a team and trusting the people around him, and training them to do what he needs done. So he's just managing people a lot more now than what he was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just delegating everything. Well, and even up here as well, I work as a landman, and the land broker that I work for, the one thing that we definitely learned from COVID is that you don't have to be at the office, right? So, and I think a lot of the other companies, especially in Calgary area as well, figured that out too. And a lot of people are on like a hybrid work system now, where everybody gets a laptop, right? You don't always have to come to the office, work from home and, figure it out that way sort of deal. So, yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I just like people too much. I wouldn't be able to sit at home permanently.
Yeah.
I'd have to go find somebody to go see.
So is a landman like a realtor, or an auctioneer, or what?
No, so what I do is I deal with.
You guys have land agents down south?
I would call it more of a realtor, right?
Yeah,
like a farm manager.
No, so how it kind of what I do is There's a couple different ways I could describe it. Kind of the professional way, I guess, would be I deal with landowner consultation and negotiation. This usually deals with oil and gas infrastructure on people's properties, on farmland. But I also, because I work for a land broker, I do electrical stuff as well and all that. So pretty much whenever, a pipeline's going through somebody's property, the landman guy's got to get the signature or ink on paper at the end of the day and pay the farmer a lot of money to do that work as well. So that's what I do.
That would be a right-of-way agent here.
Okay.
Goes through and sells easements, buys and sells easements, allows people to be able to get in and out of property. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. What would the name be for people who are doing more like wells and stuff like that?
Doing wells, like well digging?
Yeah, like
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 gain the rights to land for like oil wells and stuff.
yeah, for leases.
That's
and
something
stuff like that.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of that
Yeah.
in our area. You'd have to go up to North Dakota or down into southern Illinois, Texas, Oklahoma.
Yeah, mainly what we have is, power transmission. And right now, the biggest thing is the CO2 pipelines.
Okay, yeah.
Those types of easements.
What's a CO2 pipeline?
CO2.
Well, I mean, like for what? Where's it where's it come? Like, what's it coming from? Like off, like I've heard of methane pipelines out in California with the dairies, but what's where is this coming from?
CO2 is a byproduct of ethanol. So ethanol can be created or formed out of a lot of different crops anymore. Most of it's corn, but we've got some stover ethanol. There's been some sugar ethanol, but a byproduct of that distilling process is CO2. And up until this pipeline idea, the CO2 is permitted to be dispersed into the air at a certain percentage every day, or it is a secondary product that is used in, you mix CO2 with your syrup to make your soda, your pop, as a product there. So it has to be trucked. So where the pipeline creates a much more efficient way to have an ethanol plant get rid of the CO2, which is a byproduct. And the proposal is to link up ethanol plants across Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa, and a little bit of Illinois, and take the CO2, shove it in a pipeline, and then throw it into, for lack of complexity, an underground cavern in Illinois.
Dried up oil wells.
Yep. And just store it there. So instead of dispersing it into the air, they're going to stick it underground.
Okay. All right.
It's all part of their revolution.
Well, and are they currently in the works of doing that? Is there a lot of pushback coming
from
heck of a lot of pushback.
So there's 3 projects going through Iowa right now. One of the projects has 70% of its route volunteered. And I'm not saying like volunteer, we're not going to get paid, but they just have allowed the negotiation to happen and have accepted terms. And then there's the other 2 pipelines are struggling with that. So we've got a legal battle right now over eminent domain, which is a legal use of right of way. So if you forced eminent domain and I had to run a pipeline across Corey's farm, he can't stop me. So there's a real big debate going on as to whether or not eminent domain for a private company versus government use is something that should be enabled to be enacted. So pretty big debates.
Yeah, we kind of have something similar to that up here as well. It can get messy, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. But another thing that we saw, when we were looking on the website, when we were kind of looking into you guys, is something called Big Creek Seed.
Is that a seed cleaning plant?
That's me. That's my hat right here. That's just another form of income for myself.
Like the podcast doesn't pay well enough.
Like I said, yeah. Well, Big Creek Seed started in 2011 or 12, actually. Before I actually left Pioneer, I started warehousing seed for one of Pioneer's little sister companies, and started getting another form of income, because I knew if I was going to come back and farm, I needed more income than just the farm at the current state it was. So I started Big Creek Seed, and then when I came back full time, I did start selling seed as well. I call it, it's not a hobby. It does pay okay, but it's not my full-time gig. I would say it's more part-time. I sell Hogemeyer seed, which is, like I said, a little sister company of would be Corteva now. But no, I get along with the vine. Sell corn, soybeans, alfalfa, and they do some forages too, like some like sorghum or Milo. I don't know, whichever you guys call it. Sorghum Sudan grass, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Cool.
They said what is it, to be a millionaire or very wealthy? You got to have 7 forms of income.
Yep.
Is that what they say?
Trying to get there, you have to get 7 forms of income to become very wealthy.
Yeah, get after it.
I think I'm at like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got like one.
I got
Yeah,
one. I got one, and then one's cost me money.
Yeah,
so
this podcast is a big shit.
0.75. So
That's an investment then.
That's right. Investment for the future.
Yeah.
yes, exactly. Maybe your end of year 2, maybe something. But,
There you go.
actually, speaking of, do you have any more farming questions or no?
No, not really.
I have one more, and it's more of the egg lending, or I guess maybe you guys can maybe both chime in on it. Because you're both kind of farming as well, the ones in egg lending. Oh, God. What's your number one piece of advice, even if you learn from the podcast, for someone that wants to get into farming? What's your number one piece of advice?
I'm trying to think if I wanted to be funny.
Tanner literally asked me this question the other day, and I was like, I was in a bad mood, and I just said, "Don't." But it's not
And the
true.
first thing that I came to mind was pull out a plat book and find your wife. In all seriousness, I mean, you have to realize that when you look at a 60-foot wide piece of equipment, or when you look at a 24-row planter, or you're looking at 2 12-row head combines going through a cornfield chased by a grain cart and a lineup of semis on a highway, that wasn't what people started with. So I would just say that if there's a passion for you to be in agriculture and farming, go get some experience working for somebody else and be willing to do that. Don't think you're too good to be farm labor. Don't think you're overqualified to do something. Get a good job with somebody that you have a lot of respect for. Learn for a little while, and then get started small.
Right.
You might only get to rent. I mean, one of my favorite interviews is Gavin Spohr, and he started off renting 5 and 8 acre patches, and he'd go farm 5 acres here and 8 acres here and 7 acres around the corner, and he very quickly had a couple hundred acres, but it was in 20 or 30 different fields. The kid wanted to farm.
Yeah.
So I mean, my first advice is go find someone to learn from, and don't think you have to jump into it like everybody else has.
I would echo that for sure. I think coming into it, I was always scared to project myself, to trying to think of the word, to promote myself to other people, to call up the guy that farming down the road that was 70 years old and didn't have anyone coming back to the farm because I felt like they thought I'd be like a punk kid. They don't know what you're thinking. If you want to farm, call them up, tell them that. If you never tell them, they'll never know. So I'd say just, network.
Pretty solid piece of advice right there.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Awesome.
You get that advice.
now-
You get that advice every Monday and Thursday on the Farm for Profit podcast.
Right.
There you go. There you go, folks. Yeah. Okay. So actually, speaking of which, podcast. So how the hell did you guys' podcast come to be? Like, what was the inspiration for it?
Yeah. So the podcast originally started out as an in-person meeting. So I wanted my customers to be the smartest and most educated farmers in the area. So that way they would make the most money, and therefore I wouldn't have to worry about chasing a bad loan payment. So I started off hiring speakers to come. I'd buy them lunch. We'd come in, sit in the same room. We'd talk to some land professional. We'd talk to somebody about commodity markets. We'd talk to somebody about equipment, and we'd have a day of it. And that's how it all started. Well, frick, doing that's expensive.
Brick.
Yeah. you like that?
Yeah. Okay.
Frick.
Got it.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So anyway, during that in person is expensive. So it was kind of one of those things. We listened to the attendees. The group got to be what, almost 350 people
Yeah, it was big that last year.
in an area. That's a lot of food to buy. That's a lot of chairs to set out. That's try to find a bigger venue to go into. But the surveys were saying they wanted to do it and get the information more than once a year. So I started off writing a newsletter, and I realized I hated writing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite things to do was to listen to podcasts. So it was kind of like, I'm going to call up my favorite podcast at the time, and that was the Shark Farmer podcast, and actually talked to Rob Sharkey and learned from him what equipment he was using, what program he recorded into, what he was, doing for trying to source topics and ideas, and went back to one of the first presenters I had at the conference, which was Dave Whitaker, one of our co-hosts, who talked about land. And I said, hey, you're an auctioneer. You've got mics. You've got equipment. Do you want to co-host this podcast with me? And we started recording in his basement. So we stopped doing the conference, started recording a podcast. We were putting out a show every 2 weeks. So every other week. And then we realized we had to put something out every single week. But good Lord, I didn't have any good ideas. The audience was 25 people. Not a lot of feedback from a small group like that.
Technically, before you went to every 2 weeks, didn't you start? Wasn't the fun show started or not?
No, we didn't have fun shows
Okay.
yet. So every other week, and then we wanted to fill the gap that we were skipping, and so we started just stealing top 10 lists from everywhere. So like top 10 meals prepared for the field, top 10 songs that have the word tractor in them. I mean, it was a complete waste of time.
It was absolutely terrible.
And that was when Corey stepped in, and Corey came up to me and he goes, you guys suck. If you want this to be anything worth anything, you have to make this way more entertaining.
I didn't say you suck. I said this. Your off week sucked.
Yeah. He said we sucked. So it kind of challenged Corey. I said, so what do we put in that spot? What do we put in every other week? Because we had great content, talking to CPAs, talking with succession planners, talking with, ways agronomists can help your farm be better. I mean, we had good topics every other week. And Corey goes, well, why don't we just have a conversation like you're sitting at the bar? Farmers BS all the time at the bar. Why don't we do that? So we started drinking on the opposite week, and we started sampling random drinks. People would send us beer. We'd have companies that were local wanting us to try their brand new craft beer. We had wine once, and that started Farm for Fun. And that's literally when the trajectory just shot off. As soon as we started doing that, we now had quality content every Monday, and it was so long from there.
Yep. And on the fun show, my kind of thought behind it was I was a big Pat McAfee podcast, Joe Rogan, Wheeler Walker Jr., like non-PC type content, Barstool Sports, and all that kind of stuff. And like, I just got tired of agriculture being so PC, so politically correct. And you watch RFD TV or whatever, the ag news, you hear it on the local AM radio station, and it just sounds like no one has fun, and they're so prim and proper. It's like people drink beer and have fun, and they cuss. We're real people too. We like to have fun. So I wanted to be like the Barstool Sports of agriculture. And I don't think we quite got there because we have to, we can't do everything. Some sponsors won't let us, but but we've gotten pretty close. I feel like we had fun.
Not gonna lie, that was my same vision for this podcast. I'm a big Barstool guy. Like, hard my take, spitting chicklets. Like that's my shit.
Right there. It was like, the idea was like Barstool of ag and Western, so your rodeo scene as well.
Right.
You have a good mix to everybody.
The rodeo guys like to have fun. Have you ever heard of
Rump Chat?
Rump Chat.
No, I haven't yet. No.
Oh, look them up.
A couple rodeo clowns.
Well, rodeo clown and a DJ.
Rodeo DJ. Yeah. But really good podcast. Yep.
Have you guys heard of Cowboy Shit?
No.
No, so that's the big Canadian rodeo podcast. here, and it's a former bull rider, and then now they're both announcers as well. So that's the big one.
Yeah,
up
those
here.
rodeo guys got a lot of stories, that's for sure.
Yeah, those are the,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah. It's like a good mix because like I love the egg stuff, and like I love talking about agriculture, especially learning different parts of it. You know, you get the odd guy, like we had a shrimp farmer on once type of thing. You know, like a little bit of this. But then the rodeo guys, all you do is just sit there and just talk about stories like the whole time.
Yep.
Just story after story after story. So it's a good mix.
Yeah, if they wanted to be barstool, then I really don't need to say frick. I should I can let
No
loose.
one should ever say frick.
I guess for people too that want to get into podcasting, how do you guys gain traction? Because you guys are probably one of the most. You guys pop up on my feeds the most out of anyone. You're probably one of the most popular agriculture podcasts out there. How do you guys end up gaining traction, and how long did that take?
Oh man, it's a slow grind too. Like Tanner said, it was probably when we added that fun element, and you would think since when we added the fun that the fun show would be the most downloaded, but they end up feeding off of each other, and it's about dead even.
And we officially now, like our top 10 episodes used to be 5 fun shows and 5 profit shows. And within the last 30 days, it finally tipped. And now there's 6 fun shows and 4 profit shows in our top 10 most downloaded.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would say you have to have someone like Tanner, who is a robot when it comes to scheduling and putting out, just getting guests lined up. It's crazy. And talking to sponsors, making sure it gets edited. I mean, he put in the work and consistency. I mean, we show up every Monday at 5:30 in the morning, every Thursday at 5:30 in the morning, and haven't ever missed an episode since we started.
And the other key to success too is you have to be good looking. Like, I mean, as soon as we brought Corey on and his stunning, manly good looks, everybody just flocked.
It's the great thing about a podcast. You don't have to look good at all.
Except for we're on
Well, now.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah. At first we didn't.
I don't have the proper lighting for you. They're not getting the full view, but
The full figure.
but in all
starting to sound more and more like Corey's the knight in shining armor there.
Yeah, basically that's what I'm hearing. He saved the podcast.
Giving me an HJ under the table. Over
it's,
here.
yes,
Jesus.
Wait, you guys record at 5:30 in the morning?
No, we put it
No.
out at that time.
every episode gets released at
Oh,
5.
you said you guys showed up there at 5:30 in the morning.
Well, yeah. Technically we do, but no, we don't.
Right. I mean, the key to success, like he said, is consistency. You can't put a show out on a Monday and the next time it's on a Friday and expect to have religious listeners. I mean, there's people that they wake up every Monday morning and that's the first thing they want to do at 5:30 is download the podcast and listen to the episode of that week. I mean, that's how you develop loyal followings. And then secondly is you got to do something different. Corey says it all the time. Everybody's got a podcast. Everybody's got one. And just like you were saying early on, I mean, statistically, if you have 150 downloads a week, you are in like the top 1% of podcasts worldwide.
That's nuts.
High five.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. Because if you think,
Actually, that's it, eh?
That's it.
I'm pretty sure that's it. Because if you think about it, there are so many podcasts. How long did it take for you all to get to that level? Right. You know,
Well, like last year when we were doing 2, we were up over close to that 300 plus mark, and then once we went back down to 1, we're over at about that 150 to 200.
Yeah.
Type of thing. But it took 6 months probably until we hit 100. Probably.
and how many people quit 2 months into it? I mean, if you think about it, there's also a lot of people that do like a podcast on soap making, and who the hell wants to listen to a podcast about soap making, but they still got one, you know? So yeah, it doesn't take much to get into the top echelon, but now you think about what that 1% includes, and that includes Joe Rogan and Pat McAfee and Mike Rowe and Conan O'Brien. you've got some monster celebrities that are hosting podcasts in that category, but you got to be yourself. And if you want it to last for a long time, you can't fake it, because if we were trying to fake a personality for 4 years, there's no way I'd have the energy to do that. But
Right.
that dude,
you'd so
Yeah. And I would say too, once you get those things down, once you were able to release the reins and hire an editor, which obviously we had to have some sort of income coming from it. But once you did that, like, and he didn't give it up forever. He wanted to control it. But once he did, it was like a giant weight lifted off his shoulders. And then all of a sudden it's like, what am I going to do with my time now? And then you're just that much better of a podcaster. So we do what we do well, which is podcasting and interact with guests and that kind of stuff. And then hire out all the other, everything that we possibly can that we don't like to do or takes way too much time. Burns us out.
and we're trying to find more stuff to give away.
Right. We got what, five people helping us now?
5 on payroll. Yeah.
I mean, not full time, but like, yeah. So, and we could use another 1 or 2, and one that we're looking for is kind of a unicorn. So I don't know if we'll perform.
So if you know anybody out there that's kind of a unicorn, send them our way.
all right, I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Yeah, we'll look in the deep Canadian bush for that.
Corey said it really well today. You know, you what'd you say? You either get a horse or you get an ass, but it's hard to find a mule.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
That's fair. Well, even like talk about girls, you know, it's like it's hard to get one that checks off all the boxes, right?
Oh, there's the one on the crazy hot scale that's crazy. That's not crazy and it's hot. The unicorn.
Do you guys have girlfriends, or are you married?
I don't.
I
He has a girlfriend.
I do. But he doesn't.
Well, I wondered why the hell the two of you couldn't sit any further apart. You all not host podcasts together? I mean, Corey and I are damn near touching here. It's okay.
We
Just
so,
got it.
Milo.
so this is Milo. He doesn't like to be touched.
Oh.
So he gets the whole seat cushion to take wherever he wants to go.
That's funny.
So I guess another question I have is, you guys why don't use like a traditional microphone like we are, or just use the headset? What?
Yeah.
Is that just something you guys tried once and liked it, or how'd that work?
So the main reason that we chose this is because of a guest. So when we'd have a guest in studio, you guys understand mic technique. You know that you don't want to turn your face away from the microphone when you're trying to talk. So if you've got a guest in studio with you and they want to turn to Corey and talk, but the mic's in a stand, then they're going to turn their face away. And now I have to do more editing. So because the volume level changed. So we initially went to the headsets because I can look wherever the hell I want to look right now, and my volume level and audio quality doesn't change. The extra benefits, because we would do the handheld microphones, we'd set them up on mic stands. We've gone from having boom stands attached to the table to stands that set on the table, and we'd always wear headphones. Well, now we've got the headphone and the mic all in one device. It's just one cord, and you guys have not been able to keep up drinking with us because you've got one hand on the mic the whole time. Here we are. Here we are. Like Corey said, I'm making sure that he's comfortable here, and I got both hands free to do that.
As they both grabbed their beer, like called out.
Oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, actually, that's really smart.
That's smart.
I've noticed that too. Sometimes when we would have,
Or you'll have a guest that talks like this.
Yeah, you gotta wait.
And then I'm sitting here at the computer, like, after the 5th or 4th time trying to correct you, you're like, fuck it.
Yep. Yeah. And honestly, like your listener, it goes to your listeners too. Like if you turn a podcast on in your vehicle or your AirPods or whatever, and the audio isn't balanced,
This is another key to success.
It isn't balanced because your guest is sitting this far away from the mic, or your mics aren't turned up the right way. It might not even be their mic technique. I turn it off, like because I don't. It's not. I don't know. I don't like to hear it.
Yeah, one of my least favorite things is when I turn on a podcast and I go from volume 12 in my truck to volume 18 as the person speaking changes because I can't hear somebody.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you guys do all your interviews in person?
No, but they are next level when they're in person.
Yeah, we try to do it in person if at all possible.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is amazing, right? Like we would never talk. We wouldn't even know about each other really if it wasn't for technology and able to do this. So
Christ. How am I supposed to get this thing open?
it's hard. It's like a freaking virgin, man. Right.
Speaking of in person, what's it like?
That's not where I thought you. Speaking of tight.
Yeah. Speaking of in person, how is it recording on a farm show? I saw you guys were at the Suka studio. How was that? That must have been just like
yes.
way different and kind of weird just having people watch you podcast.
It is, right? So that was our second year doing that.
Yeah,
So that was at the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville, Kentucky. And that was in mid-February. And we did that a year ago. That was our first time there. And we threw it out. Sukup was a sponsor of ours. They're a grain bin manufacturer here in Iowa. And threw it out like, hey, we'll come down to the farm show with you guys and just do live recordings because this is kind of selfish. Like it helps them out, but who's at the farm shows? Everyone you want to talk to, right? Like all the social media influencers, all the experts, all the companies. I mean, what better place to go and just do a bunch of podcasts in person, which is awesome, and bank up episodes.
The first year we went, we recorded 25 episodes.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Well, is there like, I'm assuming there's a lot of background noise though. Is that like, I'm assuming, what do you guys do to counter that?
Yeah. So our philosophy. So in the beginning, we'd run noise canceling. So we do all of our editing in a program called Audacity, and one of the effects that comes in that program is a noise reduction or a noise canceling. So we started off doing that, but that'll even take the pitch of your voice off a little bit. Mm-hmm. And what we learned from our listeners and just from talking to people and our own personal opinion is it's like a drug for us to go to these trade shows. I mean, you are amped from when you get set up to when you do. I mean, we'll record all day and we will party almost all night and start over again the next morning. I mean, it is a trip. You come back Monday after the trade show and it sucks. It is. It's like coming off of a high. You just
it's terrible.
So you get into that position and we started going, okay, if we can feel that energy in person, there's some of that energy that translates to the audience that's listening to it on the podcast, and we don't even hardly touch it anymore.
Yeah.
These mics really help. Are you using Fenders?
You're talking about like our terminology sucks. Are you talking about like the little black thing that's on top of this here?
No, the actual brand of the mic. Are they Fender mics? Condensed?
Oh, they were like the cheapest ones on Amazon.
Like I said, we're Dutchmen. We were like, all right, how can we start a podcast for under $300?
Right. So they come in a little bag like this?
No, these ones are called Audio Technica.
Oh yeah, Audio Technica. So anyway, those
what these are. That's what these are.
Those would do the same thing. So we've got a dozen Fender mics.
Yeah.
That same thing. They really do a good job of keeping the crowd noise out. You know, it's a little dull roar in the background, but other than that, you know, it's not that big a deal. We just run with it.
Yep. If it's really bad, also we learned a trick. I don't know who told us. Was it no, it wasn't Vance Crow because I told Vance Crow.
Right.
So Adobe Podcast. It's not out yet, but they have a deal on their website that is an AI sound buffering, sound fixing. It will take all background noise out, and like you could be recording on AirPods that sound like crap, and it'll make it sound like you're in some audio room studio and high quality radio voice. It's actually really good.
Okay.
Yeah. And anyone can do that.
We'll have to take a peek into that.
Adobe Podcast.
Okay, what's one thing you guys have not done on your podcast yet that you want to do? Like, I know for myself personally, one thing I really want to do is I want to like take edibles and then do a podcast, but Devin won't let me. So, like, what's one thing that you guys still have on your bucket list?
To do that. Tanner has never had weed in his life.
It's funny you bring that up because it's like the same relationship here. Corey's like, we should do this sometime.
I can't smoke weed. I have before, but like my chest gets really tight. But then I found
Well,
edibles.
just take edibles then. That's
Right.
easy.
Right. Like
solution.
edibles is like having a 6-pack of beer and like chilling, like and hanging out.
Yeah.
It's a good time. And I mean, I'm not like I do it all the time, but when I get my hands on them, because it's not legal in Iowa technically,
Oh,
Right.
so it's hard to
Right.
get.
Right. Right.
Yeah, Tanner's a
about
goodie.
that.
It's kind of legal up here, so it's okay.
That is nice. Yes, Tanner will never do banking. Tanner will never do weed ever. Tanner's boss, never. But that would be fun sometime.
Yeah.
We'll do it sometime, Tanner.
I think it would be badass. I mean, we've talked about it, and it is a far-fetched dream and of the figment of the imagination. But I would love to do a tour. I would love to buy or rent an RV, take our equipment with us, and like do a 20-episode tour. You are literally touring farms, and you are going to touch as many states as you can, and you're doing in-person recordings, but you're doing in-person recordings on their farm.
Right. And I would say just take it
that
further.
sounds like a pretty plausible. I mean, like it'd take a lot of time. Pretty plausible idea to me.
yeah, it sounds like fun too.
It sounds like fun. Like I think like we have a little road trip planned here coming up in September. We're gonna keep it secret though. Type of thing. But same thing. It's not the whole country, but I mean it's still plausible.
Right.
Why not?
We almost bought a tour bus.
We almost did.
That would be sick. Like you're talking like an RV or a legit tour bus.
No, it was a legit tour bus.
Yeah, it was like from like 1978, but Greyhound tour bus type deal. But we were actually looking. So this is Dave's office currently, and it's an amazing office. But this is his real estate business, and so we have to set up and take down every time. So we've been looking for our own studio, and one idea we had was, why would we buy property? We could just buy a tour bus and just record in that, have a studio set up, and then we could be on the road anytime.
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me too.
And I'm assuming that didn't fly over very well then, or
Well, we ended up
still in
buying
the
the
works?
We ended up buying real estate. So we are in the process of remodeling an old gas station, and hopefully that studio will be up by this fall.
Oh yeah, that's pretty sick.
That's
Yeah,
that's sick.
Yep.
I guess if we're ever strolling through Iowa, which I don't know if that'll happen, but if it ever happens, check out your guys' gas station podcast. Are you guys gonna still be serving Slurpees and like drinks and beer? Like, is that like the gas station part still gonna be part of it, or
same question today, except they were asking if we were also going to keep serving pizza.
Right. So like Casey's is a big gas station here in Iowa in the Midwest, and they're known for their pizza. And literally Casey's sold this property in the year 2000, and then they moved right across the street. So we are right across the street from Casey's, but it looks like an old Casey's building. I kind of want to make it look like the old beer cooler or something, like we're recording live at the back of the Casey's here in Slater, Iowa,
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool. So most
No, I don't
Midwest.
think that's about it. There's this one gas station, it used to be a gas station here in the town that we live in Old, and they converted the entire gas station into a liquor store, and they call it like the liquor station now, and it's awesome. It's so cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, you got a lot of you could definitely make something cool out of that. That's for
Mhm.
sure.
all right? I got another question here. So obviously to help promote the podcast, you've had to go on to like social media and stuff. What's the weirdest or kinkiest experience because of social media, or even just because of an interaction, like an in-person interaction?
Kinky. Oh man, it's probably just the weirdest, and it's not that bad. It's just
See,
like
the two things that come to my mind are nuts and OnlyFans.
nuts and OnlyFans.
Think about it.
What? Nuts?
Like,
Send you pictures of their nuts?
No, the nuts was the guy that we were recording live at National Farm Machinery Show, and we had a bucket of cashews for us to eat as a snack.
Right.
And I'm eating them, standing there next to Corey, Or wasn't you? Maybe it was somebody else.
Oh yeah, the
And
guy
it-
just comes
This
up and
old guy just shoves his hand in my nuts and grabs a hold and offers them to his wife, and comes back and gets a second handful of my nuts.
right. Yeah.
And I'm just, what are you doing, dude? I mean, I couldn't say anything. I just was speechless. Yeah, it was way more dramatic when I
What
said
was the
OnlyFans and nuts.
OnlyFans one?
Jay.
Oh yeah, we recorded a podcast with someone off of TikTok who wasn't in agriculture. We won't say her name, and it was fun. It was really fun, a fun podcast. And then she told us afterwards that she had an OnlyFans.
She hinted at it during the recording.
Yeah,
We didn't know anything about it. Hinted at it during the recording that she had an OnlyFans. And then after the recording was done, a couple days later, asked us not to produce it.
yeah, it was weird,
Really?
Yeah.
really weird. Yeah,
Did
and
you guys
not
ever look up the OnlyFans?
look up what?
Her OnlyFans.
Oh
Look
no,
up her OnlyFans?
No, in case our wives are listening.
no. But what was weird? It wasn't just asked us; she blocked us.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, and we did nothing. We have the recording and everything. If people want to hear
It's
it,
still saved.
Like,
One of these days we'll sell it.
I don't freaking understand. But I would just say not sexual or nut related was just like we've had Zach Johnson, Millennial Farmer, and like some of the larger social media accounts on. And every time we do, like these little kids come out of the woodwork and like message me and like, hey, could you get Zach's autograph or could you tell him hi for me or whatever? Like weeks later. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell, dude? Like, I ain't with them still. Why are you messaging me?
Yeah, it's like people don't realize that the episodes that we're putting out now were recorded in March.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so they'll send you messages and they'll be like, oh, is he still in town?
But even if he was sitting right here, why would what? Dude. I don't know. It's weird.
I'm assuming it's probably been more really good experiences than weird ones. Though,
100%.
so far.
You find out very quickly that a lot of agriculture is just full of great people. I mean, there's probably just a handful of interviews that we've done where I'm like, we don't need to talk to them again.
Mhm.
But pretty much everybody else, you become their biggest cheerleader after you're done doing the interview because they are pretty badass.
Yeah. I think so.
Now, if we were women, I would say that our answer would probably be completely different because we ask a lot of the women guests that we have, like this kind of the same question that you do, and just the amount of DMs from dirty old men and just when people get behind a screen and hide behind a screen name, it's crazy what they'll do.
Yeah.
Kind of gross.
TikTok is like 90% just horny dudes.
Yeah, and we had you guys know Egg with Emma, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so we had her on back in the summertime. She took some time out of Custom Combine to come on. She was telling us about some of her experiences and just disgusting. Honestly, just disgusting what some of these guys say.
Right. So Emma helps us out quite a bit on the podcast as well. So we love Emma.
Okay. Yeah.
She was down there.
She didn't know who Wayne Gretzky was though.
Yeah, do you guys know who Wayne Gretzky is?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, she's
I
from
was very
Idaho.
disappointed in that.
I
Yeah.
use it.
What's
Go
What's
ahead.
Wayne Gretzky's number?
You don't need to
Is what?
clip that.
I'm just making sure.
What did you say?
What's Wayne Gretzky's number?
Oh shit! I wouldn't be able to tell you that.
No, I'm gonna say 9.
You're close.
7.
99.
99. That's what I said.
Oh, that makes sense. I use that Wayne Gretzky analogy about how he talks about how good he was, is he anticipated where the puck was going. You can't skate to where the puck's at. You got to skate to where the puck is going. A lot of that we've talked about on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys watch? No.
Do we walk?
What was
What'd you
that?
say?
Do you guys watch any hockey?
Yes.
Playoff hockey.
Playoff hockey. I don't ever watch regular season usually, but playoff hockey is the best sport to watch. I've never
is.
seen people try. You can just see it's pure talent, and the drive is beyond any sport that there is.
Yeah. It's totally different than the regular season. After. Who are your guys' teams that you root for?
I don't root. I mean, I'll be right up front. I don't root for anybody. Like I said, The only time I get it turned on is during playoffs, and it is. It's just fascinating that hockey has just enough athletes on the ice that it's a team sport, but there's not 11 men like a football team to where you can lose the impact of a certain player. So it's fun. Like you can tell when somebody's skating their ass off, and it's a whole different level of intensity during playoffs.
Our local, very semi-pro team would be the Bucks in Des Moines.
Iowa Wild.
Well, Iowa Wild, yeah,
Which
but
would be
I've
the-
never been to that. But the Bucks is like in this old shitty arena, and they have like dollar tall boy beer nights and stuff like that, and it gets all rowdy. It's like, you know, kids coming out of college and stuff. It's good. It's a good time.
Yeah, because what the Iowa Wild's like the D League for Minnesota Wild,
Right.
Yeah.
But I would say, you know, our local team would probably be more like Chicago Blackhawks, or I've been watching. You know, isn't the Vegas Golden Knights? Aren't they pretty new?
Yeah.
They're like 3 years old.
Yeah.
Probably four. No, more than four or five.
Four.
Probably the Kraken were just introduced like last year.
Yeah.
I
liked watching The Golden Knights were in the finals, what, a year or two ago?
No, it was more than
The
that.
first season was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
something
I
like
remember
that.
watching that. I liked watching them. But I like watching anybody play in the finals. It's all good hockey.
Well, this year, root for the Oilers, all right?
No. Flames. The Flames, we got to get in. We won last night. Against Winnipeg. We're tied with Winnipeg right now. We got to stop beat more. We got to win more games than Winnipeg, and then we're in. And we're gonna kick the Oilers' ass in the Battle of Alberta.
Love it. Do you guys bet? Do you guys bet on the?
No, but a little sports gambling. I kind of want to get back into it, but I just haven't.
We don't bet whenever it's the Battle of Alberta. Usually, just I think
We
the
bet on
White
our
Sox.
friendship at that point.
Yeah, like I don't think I'm assuming it's like with you guys and like your football, but up here, like our Albertas are very united. All the people are quite the same. It's like kind of like the Texas of Canada.
Okay.
Everyone's quite the same, you know. And then last year it was the Battle of Alberta, so it was Edmonton versus Cap round of the playoffs. And I have never seen this province divided by one line right down the middle. Is everyone south of Red Deer was for Calgary, and everyone north of Red Deer was for Edmonton, and it was divided. Like it was bad. Like there was fights coming out of the bars and stuff. It was bad.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
How about do you guys curl?
I did. Yeah, I used to curl quite a lot. I love curling.
I haven't got into it. It's a lot of more balance than what you think.
Right.
I believe that.
I've never tried it. I just want to try it.
You guys have any curling rinks down there?
I bet you'd have. I bet Iowa State might have something. They have several hockey rinks. I know when I went to college there that hell, you could go play broom ball and
There is a Des Moines
Yeah.
curling club,
oh, where at?
Central Iowa only curling club.
Wow.
The thing that's awesome about curling is it's pretty much just the winter version of golf. It's you just go out there, have a good time, crush a bunch of beers, but also you're losing your mind halfway through because it's hard as fuck.
Done Grand, West Des Moines.
See, Tanner loves to golf, but sometimes he won't even drink when he golfs, and I don't understand why. Like, he goes,
What's the point of golfing then?
he's like, I don't play very good. I'm like,
Every once in a
that's
while,
the point of golfing.
every once in a while, you'd have that internal motivation. You're like, today's going to be the day that I turn into a real golfer.
No, I get
That's not
better
how it
as I
works.
drink.
That's fair.
You've seen it.
That's fair.
Back nine always better than the front nine.
Tanner, please tell me that you always make sure you use a cart though. Like you don't walk it, right?
No, there's two tournaments I play every summer that are you have to walk as a part of it. But no, everything else, I own a golf cart and it gets used frequently. Yes,
Okay.
You know,
Alright.
it's golf.
I do have golf pants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, Mason, you got any more podcasting questions, or should we get into the beer side of it?
Podcasting, I guess one question, and this doesn't have to be egg related, but who would be your guys' dream guest?
I don't know why these guys keep asking us about eggs.
Egg.
Eggs. It doesn't have to be
Egg.
egg related. Deviled over easy.
I'm gonna get in front of it because Tanner stole mine last time, and it would be Mike Rowe.
Oh, fuck off.
So now he's got to come up with someone other than Mike Rowe because he stole mine last time.
Oh.
But Mike, I think Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs, that guy, like, his podcast is amazing. His shows have been amazing. I think he's got a great outlook on life and politically and on the world. And I think he would be pretty badass. And he have to be in studio.
Yeah, that guy's a beauty. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
I think I'd go. I've been a big Theo Vaughn fan lately.
yeah. That guy's awesome.
I think if you just the guy's got perspective that comes from somewhere that you would be able to talk to him about anything, and he'd either be just as curious to learn about it more or give great insight and feedback. So Mike Rowe and Theo Vaughn, if you're listening, hit us up.
God, every time I see one of his clips, I just crack it, bro. I shoot, bro.
I probably feel 50% of my TikTok is all just Theo Vaughn clips.
Yeah.
It's just the way he talks and like some of the shit he thinks up of. It's hilarious.
Very much.
And he don't drink.
Yeah, he's sober.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he probably used to party it up pretty good though.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah,
I think he's drank enough
Yeah.
to where he probably doesn't need to drink anymore.
I don't think you get those
Yeah,
stories.
yeah,
without-
probably what it is.
Yeah. Crazy. What about you guys? Who would be your best guess?
Yeah, now that you've had us, who would be your
He'd be my second guess.
You go first.
One that's just on like the top of my head right now. I feel like David Spade would be pretty awesome. My favorite movie growing up was Joe Dirt. Like I used to have a mullet that went down past my nipples, so and he was kind of a bit of the inspiration for that. So David Spade would be pretty good.
All right. I'm not a political person at all. I got two, but one's kind of political. And this might, I don't know if this will offend people, but I honestly, getting Donald Trump on would be kind of sick. A little bit sick. And then also Hasbullah.
huge?
So
Who?
Yeah.
What was that?
the second one, you know Hasbullah, the little Russian guy?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he'd
He
be
doesn't
good.
speak English though. Yeah.
Just translate it. Just go for it.
Just yep.
You know,
Throw the text up on the screen. You'd be good.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. You don't want Sleepy Joe on, just Trump.
Sleepy Joe. Now you guys need. You guys can get Trudeau on.
No, we don't want him.
I don't-
Is it sad that
Honestly,
we
I
would go ahead?
I don't think he would make it into the province. He'd step a foot in, and then he that would be his last
Yeah,
step.
Alberta doesn't like him.
Yeah, we
very
don't like him
much.
on his back. We like really don't like him. So
Is it sad that we probably would you trade him for Biden?
Oh, for Biden?
Oh,
that's a good question.
that's a good
I don't
question,
know.
actually. I thought about that the other day.
You were thinking about
Yeah,
that?
I was bored at work. I don't know.
I mean, literally
know.
right now, I do think I would take Trudeau over Biden.
Now here's my
I don't
theory.
know.
Yeah,
Here's my
but
theory. I
Trudeau's
would.
been up to
Biden will die.
Oh yes,
He'll die before Trudeau
yeah, that's true.
because of age,
Trudeau
not
is-
because of anything.
He was dumb and corrupt as shit, but Biden doesn't even know where he is half the time, so that's a little concerning.
Yeah, all of our
Anyway.
government seems to be kind of a joke at some point. I mean, it's crazy. Both sides of it, really. It gets pretty bad.
Yeah, no doubt.
How about Quick
Anyways,
Dick? Have you ever had
Oh.
him on?
sorry, who?
Quick Dick McDick?
No.
So
we
this
haven't.
is my shout out to Quick Dick McDick. Please answer my DM if you're listening. We'd love to have you on. So yeah. No, we haven't. Have you guys had him?
Twice.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So yeah, no, we're trying. We'll see. Maybe one day.
We can put a good word, good word for you.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank
Yeah, that'd
you.
be sweet.
Sweet. All right. Most important topic: beer. What's your guys' favorite beer?
Cold.
Cold. So we have to say Bush Light, right? It's they sponsor our podcast. It is
Bush
not
doesn't
Bud Light.
sponsor this podcast though, so
No, Bush. I have the Bush Light Combine. We do Bush Light's like Iowa's beer. It's kind of getting painted in a bad light right now because of this. It's the same company as Bud Light, and Bud Light's getting a lot of flack. But
yeah, I saw that on TikTok. That's a shit show.
yeah. But I assure you, they're different marketing departments.
We know they are. Yeah.
As far as like,
I like that. We're contractually obligated to tell you it's Bush Light.
but no, we do love Bush Light. We always keep Bush Light stock because if you're gonna go out and have like 8 beers, you're gonna have Bush Light. You're not gonna go drink 8 craft beers because you'll be on the floor.
Yeah.
I will say that the beer that has stuck out in my mind and my mouth's watering right now thinking about it is a beer called the Tyrant of Darkness.
Oh boy.
So we had a guest on, Mr. Smith. What can I think of his first name right now?
The Tyrant of Darkness, is it like 12% or something like that?
Oh,
12
yes.
or 14. It's an imperial stout.
Yep. And like every time you drink it, you get a different flavor. Like sometimes it's a caramel, and sometimes it's a coffee, and sometimes, but
Worcestershire sauce.
yeah, yes, Worcestershire sauce. Yep. I mean, it
Brady,
is
Brady Smith.
Brady. Yes, Brady Smith. It was. He brought it over, and it's just a fun one to take out of the fridge and let people try. I mean, it is very thick. You're not gonna drink a whole bottle yourself, so that's one that I had stuck in my mind.
I like some any IPA, anything with some flavor. If I'm just gonna have 1 or 2 beers, right? And I like anything local. If I'm at a different place in the country, if I'm in California, Texas, Florida, whatever, like I will try a local beer just because I like to support local. So
Damn, there was a
Yeah.
I had a Canadian beer the other day at when I was down at Disney World
the other month.
the other day. Shit, I'll have to find out what that.
Oh,
I'll look it up. See, I think I take a picture of it.
okay.
Was it Molson Canadian by chance?
Nope, that was an option. I'll look at. Oh, that's Iowa. Yeah, give me a sec. Go ahead and keep talking.
When it comes to like that craft beer, like probably about, I don't know, 4 ago, I started getting into that, and I really like the IPAs and the hazies and stuff like that. And just like you said, like hitting up the local breweries is awesome, right? Like anytime I go to a restaurant now, you see whatever the local IPA is or whatever, and it's like, yeah, give that a shot, right? And they're usually pretty damn good too, right?
Yep. I've actually made some of my own beer, like on the home brew kits. So love that.
How did that turn out?
It's turned out pretty good. I gave it away to my cousin's husband or boyfriend or whatever he is. I don't know, but I gave it away because I had kids and didn't really have time to deal with it much anymore. But I'd brewed probably 4 or 5 different batches, and every single one was good, and it was always pretty stout as far as alcohol percentage goes. So it was a pretty cheap drunk.
Oh yeah. Well, because what do you all need even for those kits?
Oh,
What
you can
ingredients do you need?
you can go to the simplest of the simples and get like a Mr. Beer kit where they literally combine the ingredients in these little pouches, the wort and the mash and the trying to think of all the way down to like they'll give you a little CO2
Yeah, you get your yeast,
pellets,
you get your
yeast, yeah. Or you can get like a intermediate kit where you actually have to make the mash and make the wort and do all that. But
Yeah.
mine was pretty simple.
Yeah.
It might be a good way for you
I-
to do some taxes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm too lazy. I'd rather just go buy my beer.
Yeah. I can't even drink beer, so
I had a blue light.
A blue light. You can't.
Oh,
you
is
can't
that-
drink beer
Is
white.
that like a Labatt?
Is it what did you say?
Is that like under the Labatt umbrella?
Yeah, it is.
It looks like a Bud Light.
It was a Pilsner. Yeah. A very simple beer.
Like even the logo looks like a Bud Light or label. Devin, why can't you drink beer?
Oh, it's a lager.
Oh, I'm a celiac, so right now I'm drinking a Vizzy Hard Seltzer, blackberry lemon. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Have you ever had sorghum beer?
No, because sorghum's not really something that's sourced up here. I've tried the rice beers, but I've only been celiac the past 4 years. My first year of college, all I did drink was Molson Canadian. And so after drinking only Molson Canadian, a rice beer tastes like shit.
Okay.
Molson Canadian already tastes like shit.
Molson Canadian's already a shit beer.
Yeah. So it really tastes like shit. So
Wait, I think you can have Busch Light if you're celiac because it's corn.
is it?
It's not, yeah, because it's not like a wheat beer or anything like that. I'm pretty sure, like
But do they use malt barley in it though?
that. I do not know, but I know Ryan Kelly is celiac.
Yep.
And he was drinking. He was like, I can't drink it, and then he found out that he could drink Busch Light. But maybe it's just like still kind of bad, but maybe not as bad.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll still give you the shits, but not that bad.
Right.
Well, I noticed like beer manufacturing, it's a regional thing, right? Like we'll have our Molson, whatever breweries up here. So like for example, the Twisted Tea recipe is different up here than as it is in the States type of thing.
Oh,
Really?
And up here we grow a lot of malt barley type of thing. So a lot of the beer that is up here contains malt barley, so I can't quite drink it.
interesting.
So yeah. Fun fact of the day.
There you go.
I guess. There you go. Awesome. All right. Last question that we got here for you guys tonight. What's your most appropriate drinking story?
Oh my gosh.
It
There's
doesn't
so
have to be
many.
appropriate if you don't want it to be.
Well, like non-incriminating, you know?
Well, like, yeah, if I told you like my best drinking stories, like I'd probably get divorced, I'd probably be in jail, you know, like that kind of stuff. But probably my best one would be the night I met my wife. No, it's not that at all. It happened to happen at that time, but like we were at a barn party at my buddy's place, and it was actually like this time of year. It was like the night before Easter, and it was kind of cold, and my cousin was up in the rafters for some stupid reason pouring beer like from all the way down like in people's throats, and the people were just getting like, it's cold and people were getting just covered in beer. And I grabbed my future wife, and she went to the school that I went to, but she was like 4 years younger than me, so she didn't know who I was really. Maybe she did. But I was like, hey, do you want him to pour beer from up there into your throat? She's like, yeah. She just gets just doused in beer. And
How he knew she was the one.
right? Well, she's freezing cold, so I gave her my coat. She didn't have a coat. That's how I got her. But then later, my cousin fell out of the freaking rafters. Like we were playing beer pong, and fell onto the beer pong table. Like luckily,
Right. That's
because
good.
it broke his fall. Because it was like a 20-foot drop. It landed like back first. Anyway, she went to the strip club that night. I went and was almost late for church. That's my.
Wait, is that serious? That's serious.
I'm serious. She went to the strip club with other people, and I went home. She may or may not have made it on the shower stage that night. I don't know.
You weren't there.
I wasn't there.
Holy shit.
Hopefully, her mom's listening to this.
I'm sharing it with her mom.
Tanner, you got a good drinking story?
I got little ones. I mean, I'm trying to think of good ones that would be entertaining. I mean,
And he's never.
I almost got my
edible or weed.
I almost got my second MIP, so minor in possession here in the U.S. I almost got my second one at an ugly Christmas sweater party. So we were all at this party wearing our stupid ass sweaters right before Christmas, you know, and they bust us. Cops bust us this party, and they tell everybody sit down, and they start writing all these tickets, and then they make you leave. So they get your ID, they write the ticket, and then they rip it off. This is when they had the carbon copies.
Oh.
So they'd rip it off. They'd give you your carbon copy, and then they set the stack of tickets on the speaker next to the TV. Because this is back when the TVs were big, and if you wanted a surround sound, you had the subwoofer and you had the tall speakers next to the TV. And
Right.
so as I was getting my ticket and getting ready to go, I was realizing that they just set them all there. So as I walked out the door with my carbon copy, I also grabbed the entire stack of their copy of the tickets that had been written. And none of us before that point actually got a ticket because they didn't have any
So
of
you were
our
a hero.
information. I was the hero. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. The other one is 21st birthday party, bonfires, just you hang out. And that's when my wife and I at the time, we were just dating, we're mixing whiskeys and Cokes, and I wanted to make sure the fire stayed big. So I'd get the tractor started and push it up and then park the tractor and come back. And magically, it's just my birthday. My cup kept getting full again. I was like, God, people are nice. They're just mixing another drink.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, by about the third time, it was just pure booze, but you didn't realize it because you're already so drunk. And I remember just puking all over the floorboard of the tractor while I was pushing up the fire because I had no control. And I don't know why I decided it was still time to push the fire up, but that's probably the worst I've ever been. But that's the night you're supposed to be the worst you've ever been.
In your parents, your
yeah,
dad in the puke, or did you clean it up?
Oh yeah, I still had to do chores the next day. So I said, it's just the way you grew up. I wasn't even in the house at that time at 21, but I still would go home and you'd have to do chores.
Yep. That's why you don't go back there anymore.
Awesome. Awesome. All right.
That's a good way to end it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing those stories, guys. That was awesome. And everybody listening, if you aren't already checking them out, go check out Farm for Profit podcast. And do you guys want to shout out your socials again? I'm assuming they're probably just Farm for Profit, but maybe your guys' personal tags as well.
Yep. So everything is Farm for Profit or Farm for Profit LLC. I think that's Twitter, but you type in Farm for Profit, you'll find us. The hell's a school bus doing it? 10 after 10. Sorry, squirrels. And yeah, Farm for Profit everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok is going to be TikTok's going to be your most engaging, most entertaining. I'm the Iowa Banker Man, IOWA Banker Man on all platforms. Dave Whitaker, who's not here, is the farmland guy. And Corey is
Corn, pork, and beans.
Corn, pork, and beans.
Corn, pork, and
There we go.
Awesome.
Awesome.
All
All
right.
right. Well, thanks again for coming on, guys. This has been awesome.
hey,
for having
the
us.
pleasure is ours. Thanks for the invite.
And that was our interview with Tanner for Farm for Profit. Thank you again, guys, for coming on. Be sure to go check out their podcast because they got quite the production compared to what we got
Yeah.
over here.
They're the big leagues, guys. They're in the show. We're still in the mindsies.
Yeah, like I'm not shitting you guys. Like these guys are up there.
Yeah, they got it all figured out. They're like,
They're
they're playing in the FIFA World Cup, and we're still down in like the Tabor House League, U14 soccer league.
Nah, I'm calling it even worse. We're like in the Cranford League.
Cranford doesn't have a league, so that's just us playing in the backyard.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. But anyways, all right. Masters. So this was the first year I've ever watched the Masters before. In saying that, I'm kind of fraudulent because I only watched on Sunday. Didn't have anything better to do on Easter. I was at my grandparents, so you know what? You go downstairs, you go in the basement, you watch TV. Football wasn't on. There was some soccer, some hockey going on, but I was very invested into this Masters. It's freaking fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was getting really into it. John Rahm, man, he's crazy.
So
Rambo.
the only thing that I really followed with the Masters was that amateur guy. What's his name?
Oh, Bennett.
Bennett, the
Yeah.
college kid. And the funny thing, so there's two things about him that I found interesting. One was he was like mid round, and then he just like casually popped his in, so you could tell
Yeah.
he's automatically like a frat boy. So shout out to Zen for getting this guy through PGA Tour tournament.
I feel like Zen's got to sponsor him at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
in that same breath, golf is such kind of a hoity-toity sport
yeah,
that I feel like it would be
if you
frowned
want to turn
upon.
pro, then maybe that would cause issues.
Well, he's going to be turning pro. I mean, he got top 10 in the Masters, man. Like,
What did he end up finishing with?
I don't know. I think he was like
Because he was
three.
second at one point.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he finished off like 3 or 4 under, maybe
Okay.
something like that.
But another thing I found out about him is that no matter how much money he won, he would actually not be able to keep it.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to take it because he's technically in college. So an under,
And he's technically an amateur.
yeah.
He entered the tournament as an amateur. Like I don't know if they do like an application or whatever, but he clicked the amateur box.
So actually, with that in mind, because he finished top 10, he probably would have gotten a considerable reward or prize money.
Mhm.
He doesn't get to keep any of that.
None of it. It all gets tossed down now to the next guy.
You know what I mean? Guy after him's probably pretty happy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm just gonna say, if anybody wasn't watching it and have zero clue what this guy looks like, kind of looks like a dweeb, to be honest. That pink shirt was not doing any favors anywhere on Sunday.
Oh, he just looks like a classic college frat boy. Just out there to have fun.
Not really. When I think of a college frat boy, I think a guy who like goes to the gym all the time is like, bro. Like this guy was like as skinny as like a twig.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, sure, he had kind of maybe a bit of the frat boy facial hair going on, but
I mean, he apparently has good golf game. So
did it take you quite a lot to get to that realization, Devin?
A little bit. A little bit.
Also, another note: I'm like super amped to play golf now this summer.
Mm-hmm. I actually want to like try a little bit. Still keep it casual, you know. Still bring out the beers and everything, but still like actually like try a little bit. Actually, I bought a pair of clubs off my brother. So other than a putter, because he wouldn't sell me his putter for some reason, I'm set to go for
on
summer.
Facebook Marketplace, man.
Yeah.
Go to a pawn shop. I'm sure you can find one.
What if I can find some at Costco?
Yeah, you probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah, get what's the brand that they do
Kirkland.
there? Kirkland. Yeah. You can get some of those. Would be pretty sweet. I think I need to get a new driver. I dropped like $800 on a new driver. Probably not.
Probably not. The nice thing about these clubs too is my brother, because he's also quite tall as well. He's about 6'4". He's got like the extra long ones.
Oh yeah.
So that's quite nice. They're not like they're long. They're good for him. So they're like a tad bit. He's only a tad bit shorter than I am, but I know they're a tad bit short. But they're pretty good.
Yeah, that's probably a smart move, because if you were gonna go to buy some, you would definitely need fitted ones.
Yeah,
because I think they make the club standard. I think they're made standard for a guy who's like 5'9", 5'10".
Mm-hmm. So like you'd still have to buy extra long, even though I got longer arms. I still would be tough. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, he was pretty nice guy, pretty good deal. So shout out to my brother.
Also, did you see how at the Masters the one day like those 2 trees fell over?
Yeah, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole with that one, and I couldn't quite figure out what was going on.
Yeah, that one was weird because I don't think the weather was really extreme that day specifically as well. So
so that's why I went down another rabbit hole. I went down another rabbit hole, and they were saying something about like the Georgia Land Bear Wildlife Conservation was also involved with it. But I have no freaking clue what was going on.
And the green, I wonder how much the greenskeepers make there. Because right now,
I'm calling at least over 100, but those guys probably have like 80 years, like 20 years of experience. They got a degree in turf management.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Like they know every single blade of grass, like every single type of grass under the sun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, these past couple of days since I was watching the Masters, my phone was definitely listening to what I was doing, because I've just been like, especially yesterday, it was just all golf TikTok. I'm deep into golf TikTok right now. And the one thing that I thought was funny is I saw this clip that came up from like 20 years ago of like the guy shooting at the Masters. It's funny how when you compare the decades of how 20 years ago, it was all just a bunch of fat dudes playing golf. And now everybody's shredded, right?
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, sure, maybe the guys nowadays are like their drives are probably a lot longer, but like I bet you they're still shooting pretty similar scores. Like I don't actually know that, so I don't take my word for it. But like I feel like they're probably shooting almost just as good back in the day. But really, maybe all these guys shouldn't be taking the gym so seriously.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think Tiger Woods changed that.
Yeah, I think so. Because he would probably be one of the first guys.
I think he was the first guy to actually take like the fitness side of it more seriously.
Yeah.
Because he had like John Daly running around smoking 2 packs of darts a game and just crushing Bud Lights.
Yeah, and I think now too, the thing with like what might play affect that now too is I wonder how many guys are going from the college game to PGA.
I think a lot of guys are,
So and obviously when you're in college, there's
especially the American guys, like the other countries. Not so much.
especially like with the mandate now of college sports and what the athletes are doing down there. Even in golf, I bet you they're still working on it every day.
No, probably.
So it's
That's
probably
probably-
translating over.
That's probably the one sport. Like that would probably be one of the best sports to be a professional athlete in.
Yes and no. I feel like it's one of the most immensely difficult.
Oh,
sports.
100% it is. But it's like you just get it like you just live in the warm weather all the time. You just golf all day. It's like it probably is. It'd probably be one of the toughest
It's one of the toughest
because
ones.
it's also one of those ones that other than your sponsors, you don't really have a guaranteed income,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, you literally have to be good to
Yeah.
keep on doing it. Unless you're good with other businesses or like if your platforms are good, then you technically don't really be that good on them. Well,
Yeah.
you still do.
I'd be a pro
You know
golfer.
what I mean though? Yeah,
I'd be a pro golfer. I'd do that for a living.
I wouldn't. I'd rather go farm. If God said, "Do you want to be a pro golfer? Go farm." I'd be like, "I'll go farm."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair
Sorry,
enough.
man.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's wrap it up here, man.
All right, sounds good. Everybody, thank you for listening. I just want to close this off here with saying the Flames are definitely not going to make the playoffs. We're currently recording this on Monday, so it's almost going to be a week from now when this episode releases. But my prediction is the Flames aren't going to make the playoffs, so suck on that, Dev.
Whatever. Anyways, follow our socials at Hicks Mistakes on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, tell a friend.
Tell that friend to tell a friend.
Have a good night, y'all.
Yeah, thanks for listening.